So this is the story of how late last year we unknowingly walked right beneath the watchful eyes of a giant leopard, hidden on top of a rock, silently guarding a freshly killed impala.
It's a leopard kill.
Somewhere else, it probably shouldn't be here.
Is that fresh?
Very. He's going to come back, so we must move.
Alright, let's go. For the past few days, we've been surviving deep in the heart of the South African wilderness, tracking some of the deadliest animals on Earth. In part 1 of this series, we captured footage of giant Nile crocodiles lurking in the waters, massive pods of hippos, Africa's deadliest animal, and traveling herds of elephants moving like a force of nature across this landscape. We even managed to catch a glimpse of a giant white rhino on our trail cameras, but it was the final day of our trip here in South Africa, and I felt the need to learn more about the conservation efforts put in place to protect the incredible animals that roam these lands. So we set out on an afternoon drive through the bush, searching for some more deadly species, with the one and only Craig Spencer. But before we heard more about his story, we'd spotted the first species out the window of the car.
I'll go to the other side, Mill.
Some sort. Rock mode. Oh, he's going out there.
You see him?
Yeah. Alright. Take a look at this. Look at that right there. Beautiful rock monitor lizard. Now this would be his kingdom up here. The sun's just setting over here on the plains of Africa. And up in these rocky escarpments, later on tonight, this guy would be going hunting, looking for other small reptiles like little lizards, things like bush mice. But what a beauty. The first reptile that we've actually got our hands on over here in Africa. And it's a beautiful one as well. You nearly got away, mate. We're gonna get this guy back out there, but super cool to find such a beautiful species. So while chasing this rock monitor through the bush, there was a little rocky outcrop over to our left that a giant male leopard was sitting on top of, guarding an impala that it had killed earlier that day. But we didn't know that yet, so keep that in mind for this whole next scene.
All right, so this is quite a typical example, eh? When you witness the dung beetles rolling balls of poo, their intention is to lay their eggs inside and then bury them underground, so you can see the layer of fecal matter in there, probably from an elephant.
And that's why you see the dung beetles rolling these balls of poo across the savannah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then they lay the eggs inside, they bury it underground so you can see the clay on the outside. And when the eggs hatch, the larval stage is a big grub, and they eat a cavity, they eat the poop. Now these guys come along and they can actually hear the activity of the grubs, the feeding activity of the grubs underground.
Inside of it.
Inside.
So they dig it out.
And they dig it out.
And eat it.
Hence those claws.
How cool
It's
is
actually
that?
quite a cool souvenir, these things. You don't often find them. Honey badgers also dig them out, but they're much more destructive.
Right, time to let this big fella go, I reckon.
Yeah. It probably shouldn't be here. But let's go and sit.
It's a leopard kill.
Somewhere else, and we're going to wait. The leopard will come back. I can bring the car up here. And we can see.
Is that fresh?
Very. He's going to come back, so we must move.
Alright, let's go.
He might actually be in that hole
Still
just
filming,
watching
Kev?
us.
Yeah.
So, we thought that there was a beehive up here, right? And we were just going to do an interview. And there's a fresh leopard kill that's been dragged up into this random rocky section that we just happened to walk up to. So this leopard will come back?
Yeah, it might still be in that hole, actually.
Really?
I'm a bit concerned, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go.
It doesn't like the competition.
That is crazy. As if we just walked up on that as well.
Yeah. You know, he might have...
Are we going to wait for
walked up
him?
on a kill like that before?
Not on purpose.
So is that definitely from a leopard, Craig?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Could he still be up on that rock, or would we know about it?
No, you know, he's aware of us, wherever he is. So he's probably just sitting and watching and waiting, you know, to make sure that we're not going to steal his kill. It's because we bipedal baboons, man. If we get in the car and we drive up a bit closer, They don't mind the cars so much. I think they've kind of got used to them.
We were going to conduct our interview.
Oh, big interview.
Literally 2 meters from a leopard kill.
Could have been your most famous interview of all time, you know?
The kill is super fresh because it doesn't even smell.
Yeah.
It doesn't even smell yet.
No.
And that's characteristic of leopards, to go drag it up into a big rocky cliff or a tree
Absolutely.
away from the hyenas.
That's right, yeah. 'Cause remember, they're solitary predators. They can't really defend a kill against a pack of hyenas or wild dogs or anything like that.
And you were saying as we were driving up to this area that there is a big male leopard that hangs around.
That's right. I was actually hoping to see him, but I think he saw us first. It's actually a good lesson to learn. They're not out to hurt people. They would much rather remain aloof, hide away, and wait for us to be out of the area, and then conduct their normal business, you know?
Yeah.
Carry on with their normal behavior. But if we had gone into that crevice, which was our intention, he would have probably assumed that we were out to steal his kill, and then he would have tried to defend it. I'm not convinced that he's not in that hole.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
What would you do, Craig, if he came charging out? We didn't know he was there.
Shout and scream. Shout, scream, and wave your hands. He'll definitely come back, so it's just a waiting game now.
So leopards, along with pangolins, are the hardest animals to find here on the reserve.
Yeah, for sure.
Over the years, how many pangolins have you seen?
3 on this landscape
In how many years?
in 19 years.
In 19
Yeah.
years. So that's crazy because it's estimated that one pangolin is trafficked every 5 minutes.
Well, that's the irony. So I've seen 3 pangolins randomly in the wild here in 19 years, but I've probably seen 30 that we've confiscated from the illegal wildlife trade.
So how are these pangolins caught from the wild? Because it's baffling to me how many are trafficked each and every year. Hundreds
Yeah.
of thousands.
No, it's a mystery. You know, the only thing that we can imagine is in the tribal communities, the young kids go out to herd the cattle, and the cattle move over vast areas. And I think it's in that process, and that was they've herd dogs with them, like these big pack dogs, that will chase down whatever runs and jumps, and they dig out things, and you know, they're exploring and inquisitive and so on. And I think that's when they discover the pangolins. So it's opportunistic. It's probably not because there's a clear supply and demand chain formed. They probably go out of their way to find them now, but I think that's how it started. And that's how they can be so successful. But we could walk around here for days and months, years, and we'll never find a pangolin.
Yeah, the
You
fact
know?
that you've seen 3 in 19 years is pretty telling about how rare they are. Do you think poachers are coming onto these lands and looking for pangolins, or is it mainly the rhinos that they're after?
Yeah, here it's rhinos and bushmeat.
And bushmeat,
Yeah.
yeah, because we actually removed some snares
did.
today and found a dead kudu
Yeah.
next to a wire. Those snares, over the years, how many have you removed
Oh.
from the bush?
Thousands.
Thousands.
We've removed flatbed trucks of snares off this landscape. So they accumulate over months. And that's actually where the mambas are the most effective, is to find the snares before the animals do. And it's made it unprofitable for poachers to work on this landscape. Yeah, and we've kind of pushed them further and further away. But the thing about the snares is that they're indiscriminate, you know. So they set a snare for bushmeat, but you would catch a pangolin in it. You could catch a leopard in it, a lion, anything. Anything that walks into that snare is dead. Even a black rhino that walks into a thin wire snare like that around his foot will eventually cut through the tendons and what have you, and you'll be dead. You know, so that's, I think, the biggest threat to wildlife anywhere in sub-Sahara Africa is the snaring.
How many animals have you found dead in snares?
It's too numerous to count. Significantly, we've gone through quite a long period without losing an animal to a snare now because of the Black Mambas. They'll find the snare, or they'll identify an animal with a limp, and then we can dart it, remove the snare, fix it up, and send it on its way. But before the Black Mambas, I like to say BC, before Craig, and his Black Mambas came onto this landscape, we had everything from lions, it was lions, leopards, cheetahs, wild dogs, of course, all the antelope species and what have you, black rhinos, white rhinos, everything had snares on. Elephants, snares around the neck, snares around the trunks, snares around the feet. It almost looked like jewelry on these things. So it was super lucrative, and you'd find these bush kitchens. So the poachers would live on the landscape, and they would process the meat and the hides in the bush, totally unnoticed. It's crazy. They hide everything from the vultures, so they're under the canopy of trees. So the vultures can't even lead you. But the mambas found them all, rooted them out.
So who are the Black Mambas?
The Black Mambas are a team of young women from the local tribal villages. Those villages have a huge influence on the land ownership of the park. You can imagine the injustices of the past. This land actually belonged to the African tribes. And then during the apartheid era, they were pushed off. The national park was formed. These were cattle farms, etc. So to try and bridge that gap, we thought we need to get to the primary caregivers and instill a sense of appreciation for wildlife and so on. Why did we choose the young women? Because that's a multi-generational impact. You know, the young women, they'll become mothers. They'll pass that ethos on to their children. Eventually, in their community, their role will become the grandmothers who look after the children of their children. So you're getting a kind of, it's almost like a Swiss bank account. You invest in the young women and you get 3 generations of benefit from that. And they are the primary caregivers. They look after the elderly and the sick and the children and the cattle and the goats and, you know, the resources in the community as well. And so that ethos is much easier to instill. And there's no ego, which is the coolest thing. You know, we like to run around with our guns and our fancy 4x4s and fly around in helicopters and what have you. They don't care for any of that stuff. They just want to do their job.
That's the other thing I was going to say. The Black Mambas are an anti-gun, anti-poaching group.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, you know, if you think about it, Africa has grown up fighting fire with fire. From the colonial times, even pre-colonial, you know, that's always been the way to resolve a problem, is with violence. And if you want to protest, it's a violent protest and what have you. And I don't think we should be perpetuating that in a national park system or a protected area network. I think we should rather be instilling a ethos of, I don't know, what do you want to call it, these intrinsic values, you know, enjoy the sunset, enjoy the call of the wild and so on. Now, the recruitment model changed over time to protect and defend the wildlife. We found ourselves recruiting and training people to become soldiers. And I keep glancing over to see if that leopard has come back yet.
It's all right.
You know, and I didn't want that on my patch of Africa. I want this to be a peaceful place.
And what was the worst year you had for rhino poaching here on these lands?
2017 was the peak of the rhino poaching crisis here. In South Africa, we lost, in 2016, it was about 1,250 rhinos.
Is that 3 a day?
Yeah, more than 3 a day. Absolutely. And, you know, and then it started tapering off because the rhinos started running out. You know, it really had nothing to do with how much money we were throwing at it and how much effort we were putting in to stop the rhino from dying at the hands of poachers. If you put it on a graph, the amount of rhinos shot was going up and up and up since 2010, and the amount of money we were spending was following the same curve. So, you know, you would think if you spent a lot of money, then you would start seeing a dip in the curve in the amount of rhinos poached. Not at all. You know, on the greater landscape that we're sitting on, outside of the Mamba sphere of influence, the rhinos were dropping at a dramatic rate. You could have 3 incursions, 3 different poacher groups operating every night. It was crazy. I would so like to see that leopard now. Get a silhouette shot.
Do you reckon he's up on these rocks somewhere?
I think he is. I think he's watching us.
Oh, wait, is that it? I see it. I'm filming it.
Do you go up a little? Yeah, there.
There. Yeah, this is good footage. We were right there.
We were literally there. There he is. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, stop. Shine on him.
Oh yeah. There he is. There he is. Okay, let's just stay where we are. Yeah.
That is right where we were. That's a big leopard.
That's the big boy that hangs around here. It's not a female, so I don't think there's cubs in it.
So what's absolutely insane about what just happened with that leopard is we spotted a little rock monitor out of the car, and that's the only reason why we decided to pull up at that place and get out. And I thought we'd go up on the rocks and interview Craig after we let that rock monitor go. And then Craig's like, I hear a beehive somewhere, but it was actually all the flies buzzing over the leopard kill, and we spotted it when we were a couple meters away from it.
I reckon when you were chasing after that rock monitor, jumping from rock to, and you actually managed to grip it, we were so focused on that. In that process, the leopard had taken the opportunity to sneak out of that cave and go and sit behind the rock. So he'd been watching us the entire time.
And even when we walked up to that kill, that leopard would have been within 10 yards of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watching us. And that's a big male leopard as well.
Huge.
Let's say we got a bit closer to that kill. What would happen?
I don't think we could have got much closer, to be honest. You know? Literally poking at it. Leopards are non-confrontational, but if we did pose a threat to his supper, to his kill, then I think he would have defended the kill. But first he would have warned us off. Mm-hmm. He would have made a roaring sound, like sawing through wood, like... And just to give us a warning. And then we would, if you understand or you recognize the sound, then you would back off.
Yeah.
If we had reached down and grabbed onto that impala, the dead impala, to get a better look or to study it or whatever, he probably would have thought we were after the kill. And then he might have attacked us.
Even with 4 of us there?
Yeah, they defend their kill against a pack of wild dogs.
It's so wild as well, because we were driving for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and that's the one place that we decided to pull up. Yeah.
Right place, right time, man.
Right place, right time. Special moment with such an amazing animal as well.
It's great.
Because that's one of the hardest animals to see here in this park.
Yes. You can imagine being a leopard, the adaptations that you've had to make. You don't have the luxury of living in a big group like lions or hyenas or wild dogs and so on. So you've really got to select your prey carefully, and you've got to stalk for a long period of time and make a quick kill. So hence the fact that they drag them into trees, put them in rock crevices. So all those adaptations, I think they're insane. Silent, moving around. You never know how many there are out there on the landscape.
Yeah, I'm sure driving through this landscape, a lot more leopards would have seen us
than
we've seen over the past few days. But we've been lucky to see 3 since we've been here in South Africa, which is insane.
Very lucky.
In the small period of time that we're here, 3 different leopards.
We are quite renowned in this part of South Africa, in the Lowveld, where we're sitting now. And I'm going to, just a word for the sponsors, Olifants West Nature Reserve. The lodges here are quite well known for being able to find leopards for their clients.
And for the leopard to get to that size, it would have killed so many different animals across this landscape. What are they normally feeding on? And what would that leopard have fed on throughout its life to get to be that big?
It's hard to tell, but they're kind of opportunistic. But impala is certainly the chosen prey species out there because of their abundance as well. And now it's lambing season. So you've probably noticed quite a few impala lambs out on the landscape. They're expert killers. Lions will miss every now and again. Wild dogs might miss from time to time, but leopards never miss.
Yeah, what's the success rate of a leopard hunt?
Oh, in an area like this, it's going to be 98% success rate, yeah. Because of the abundance of prey species as well. You're sitting in the home of the Black Mambas, the world's first all-women anti-poaching unit that was established about 11.5 years ago during the rhino poaching crisis in Southern Africa. This is where they started. This is where the concept was born. We were actually waiting for them to come and join us now. This is one of their observation posts. But I just want to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about them. It's the young African women from the tribal communities sitting on the western boundary of the world-renowned Kruger National Park. 2015, they were given the United Nations Champions of the Earth Award for the work that they had done to engage communities to stop rhino poaching and also their anti-poaching patrols. You can hear them pulling up here.
Perfect timing.
In one of their vehicles. They deploy these 36 young women. They're the primary caregivers in their communities. It's a multi-generational investment to instill the ethos and change behavior in those communities. Every day and every night, they are out here patrolling, looking after the rhinos and the other wildlife. It's 100% reliant on donor funding. So if you go onto the website, there is a donor button there. We would appreciate your support.
And I'm going to leave all the links in the description if you want to go support these girls, because they do the most amazing work here on this land. And over the past couple of weeks that we've spent here on this land, seeing all these amazing animals, I've fallen in love with this landscape and the animals that live here. So we want to protect this place for years to come, and I'm so excited to come back here. I'm definitely going to be coming back.
That'd be great.
To film more videos with you guys. All the links will be in the description. And yeah, any donation counts, and it goes a long way over here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They drive themselves, they deploy themselves, they set up their own patrol orders, they have their own operations room, they're fully self-functioning.
And here they are.
Self-regulating. Hello, ladies.
Knock, knock.
Sergeant.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Hey,
How's it
lady.
going?
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Hello, ladies. Say
Hi.
hello to.
Hello, how's it
Mila.
going? Mila.
I remember you from
Yes.
there.
Hello.
So I feel so special. And I'm a role model in my community. I always go to schools and teach kids, and I've seen the impact, and I've seen how inspired people are out there. So I love my job. I love what I do out here, protecting the iconic animals. Not so many people can do it. It's now festive season. We are here protecting the animals, and people are out there at home with their families, and then these animals, when they're sleeping, they don't have anyone to protect them. So I feel special because I'm here now, and I'm going to make sure that the animals are safe for our next generation, for my grandkids to see the rhinos and all that. I don't want my grandkids to ask me one day that what did you do when we were losing the rhinos, and I find myself without no answer. I will have a good answer, and there will be a lot of proof that shows that
Lion.
you see? That's a good thing of being in the hide and the and the life in the bush. So yeah, as I was saying, that it feels so good and it feels so amazing to be part of this group. And we want so many eyes and ears out there. We want so many people to support us. Next year, January, we need to keep the cars running. We need to keep this machine running. We need to keep the spotlight running. The ladies needs to go out there with a wear uniform, good radio phones. We need so many things. So we need so many people to support the Black Mamba project. We're depending on them. For us to be able to do our patrols every day, we need people to support us. So whoever will hear this, please support the Black Mambas anti-poaching unit. We've been doing this for 11 years and it's been a success. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and help us make this group grow more and more. Thank you.
So to support these beautiful girls, what we're going to do is leave all the links in the descriptions, because I've been here for the past 2 weeks, living here on this land, you know, going out doing snare sweeps, animal counting, and just experiencing all the beautiful animals that are in this area. And we are so grateful. Even though we're from Australia, we love these animals. So we're going to leave all links in the description. If you guys want to help out the Black Mambas and help out all the animals that are here on this land, it'd be so much appreciated. And we're definitely going to be coming back here doing some more filming in the future. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Bye. Yay.
In part 3 of this series, we head even further into the African savannah and track down the second largest species of land animal on Earth, the rhino, which also happens to be the most heavily trafficked animal in this section of the park. We'll see you again next week in the next adventure.